Memorial. Rising 60 feet above the sands at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, its granite tower symbolizes the ancient promise that was fulfilled in powered flight. To this spot in 1900 came two young men who were simultaneously pointed out by a two-pronged finger of destiny. It had fallen to them to lift the dream of flight out of the past and to send it soaring into the future. Their names were Wilbur and Orville Wright. The sons of a bishop, Orville was born in Indiana in 1867 and Wilbur 4 years later in Ohio. Their story begins in Dayton, Ohio. Though having little formal education, their ceaseless curiosity and knowledge of science was to prepare them for a time when destiny would beckon. Later, the energetic Wright brothers could be seen leaving this little white frame house on another cooperative venture, this time a bicycle shop. It was here they first dreamed of powered flight. After business hours, their workshop became a laboratory where they experimented with motorless glider design. They pored over wind charts and gliding reports from abroad. By 1900, they were ready to test their theories on the wind-blown dunes of Kitty Hawk. In their field hangar and tool shop, they probed radically new concepts on wind behavior. And finally, here they shaped the first practical airplane to be self-powered. The time had come to leave the laboratory now. The time had come to fly. Here we see all as modern aviation spreads its first timid wings. The world, little knowing or caring, paid small heed to this day in December of 1903. Alternating at the controls in 4 flights, the Wright brothers finally traveled over 800 feet under power. That first 800 feet opened forever the barrier of the sky and led for every advance that followed. Today, man orbits the world and reaches for the stars. Orville Wright held half the key to a dream, his brother Wilbur the other. Destiny pointed out to them the doorway to infinity, and they opened it.
This monument at Kitty Hawk represents a milestone of aeronautical progress. It honors man's first powered flight, which was achieved in 1903 by Wilbur and Orville Wright. Their victory stirred men's souls. And in the wake of the Wright brothers came the wrong brothers. Here, one brother is missing. He tested this contraption the day before and is now confined to his bed. And now we come to the early helicopter, or haircropper. Don't lose your heads, boys. Just run for the hills. In Detroit, the first umbrella helicopter made its bow. As light as lead and cast iron could make her, this undergrown carousel was supposed to jump into the air. Try this on your next hangover. In France, there appeared a new kind of copter, driven by a pair of oversized pinwheels. This aerial bucking bronco had the stability of an intoxicated chorus girl and required a ground crew skilled in the 100-yard dash. A gas bag and pilot were added for control. See the improvement? Now she falls straight instead of crooked. They called her the Flying Sausage, but to that perspiring ground crew, she was just a lot of baloney. This is how they got airsick back in 1921. Featuring the upsweep wing, this sturdy plane was designed for intercontinental flight. With luck, it might get across the street. In the early 20s, other Zero knots continued to perfect the helicopter. This French model got off the ground, thus establishing a new world altitude record. This wooden eagle flew to pieces. Chicago produced the Ferris wheel plane, which was tied down securely to keep its powerful motors from sending it into orbit. What strength, what power, what speed. What a mess. A fitting climax to aviation's also-ran is the 7-layer plane with 7 wings and a fast man at the pedal. It figured to fly 7 times as high. Bearing the hope and burden of aviation's milestones of the century, it's, oh well, back to the old drawing board. Since the first flight, man has used the airplane for 2 purposes: to get him places at incredible speed and to provide him with the greatest of all thrills, the defiance of the law of gravity. Cathay daredevil cameramen balancing precariously on old chicken wire and canvas crate had to be very brave and agile indeed to get their aerial shots in this era when rickety planes were used for every conceivable kind of stunt. Here, high above Manhattan, one becomes a prize ring. What a place to land a haymaker. As the plane lands, with the ground rushing up to meet him, this stuntman waits until the last split second before pulling himself to safety. The ancient spirit of daredeviltry, reborn with the birth of the plane, knew no bounds. This performer demonstrates astounding precision by dangling by his knees 8 feet above the speeding ground to grab a captain. It was a restless era, and everybody who was someplace wanted to be someplace else. If a stuntman was on one plane, he wanted to be on another. When he finally got on the right plane, he wanted to be in a car. And when he was on a train, he wanted to be on a plane. This hook is for a stuntman who is going to take the blindfold test. He can't see a thing as he rides a pitching airplane and gropes with hobbled feet. The hook's got him, and he's left hanging head down after the most dangerous plane-to-plane transfer of them all. This fella seems perfectly at home in a straitjacket as he makes like he's a human bomb. Stuffed in a wooden pipe, he goes 4,000 feet up. The pipe tips, and our boy, bound hand and foot, begins dropping out head first with a parachute attached to his feet. All he has to do is remove the straitjacket and right himself before the earth rushes up to meet him. A simple mouthpiece of hard rubber is the only support of this stuntman. Hanging from a swaying rope ladder, he clutches to life by his teeth alone. Let's hope he has plenty of clutch on his plate. Chief Longweek claims he has the strongest toupee in the world. We are now about to see an Indian scalp himself. In those days, barnstormers really gave us a hair-raising milestone of the century.